That hemp rope is weird, but it doesn't matter, does it? Put him in charge, Chau Han. Don't you like this guy? The thought of that woman makes people shudder. I think Chau Han will like him. You like him, right? At this moment, he suddenly felt some sympathy for the man named Wang Moon Guy, and the prince who didn't know it. Can't wait to get home. Turn on the computer. Plug in the USB stick. About Suburban Cemetery. He had so many questions, but what made the prince frown was, there is nothing about the city on the website. Information on Suburban Cemetery. Could it be that Tianzu has been here until now? Did you find anything unusual about this place? Monsters have emerged from this cemetery. Impossible to be without thinking. And is that old man human? Are you the new operator assigned to me above? Chau Han. Chau Han is also called by you. Call the boss. If you continue to be so bored, so I hung up. Little brother, are you talking to me? Do you want to? Believe it or not, I'll rip your head off, press back the other way around, and chop off your hands and legs. Sure enough, the Wind and Rain Man has a problem with this guy. Prince has always stayed away. There was a brief silence over the phone, as if he couldn't believe it. How dare someone really hang up their phone? I'm suddenly interested in you. But before that, tell my sister to check about the spirit. All information about the car. The good prince looked at the dense information, quickly summed up all the useful information. Here's Class B incident. It started 3 days ago. Address at Demacia Street, Tianq City. Currently mastering the rules to get on the bus. Other laws are temporarily unknown. Source unknown. Current known death toll is 140 to 150. Represents the doppelganger of this hearse. Currently at 150 left. Right. This is all we know so far. Got it. For the sake of your faster efficiency, I could just break your head. There is time for this nonsense. Enough to analyze a lot of clues on the scene. The stupid prince hung up the phone without hesitation. In just 3 seconds, the telephone rings. According to the rules and regulations, Prince must answer. You find an answer. Believe it or not, your uncle. There anything else? I just want to tell you that if you want to hang up, I have to hang up. Really boring, and is it really okay to say you will hang up when handling an incident? Then the prince carefully browsed the incident. Sudden data shows renewed potential for growth. If a car accident counts, the number of kings will rise terribly. Does the situation seem serious? After a long time, a thought flashed in the prince's mind. How can a fool like this live until now? The prince directly threw the phone aside. He's not a saint, but soon his phone rings. Prince frowned to answer. Why don't you call again? If you want to live longer, talk as little nonsense as possible. I just went through the details. The law of 0 cars belongs to as long as you get in the car, you must hit. This also requires... Call again to remind me? Shut up, monsters can't be beaten. It's the iron law. But whoever gets on the hearse must be beaten. This is also the iron law. In that case, stop a hearse. What happens when you send a monster up there? I analyze. The final situation will become a competition between 2 monsters. The hearse completes its own iron law, will recycle the doppelganger. The car that got to the last monster will be the real source. With any luck, even spirit, the car will be unable to complete its own iron laws and fell into a deep sleep. There was silence on the phone, so rare. Chau Han only said one word briefly. This prince. What a talent. Report this idea to the deputy team leader. Finally, it's our logistics department's turn to make a contribution. All the time. The role of the logistics department is only to serve. Even the superhuman mission of the Ministry of Operations failed. Throw the pot directly to the logistics department. Blame them for not having timely information. But today, if the theory put forward by the prince holds true, that means their logistics department can also carry. Sure enough, I have a discerning eye. I picked the right person. The next day, Prince habitually opened the website. See if the news is updated above. You are the first person whose internship period is only 1 day. Congratulations on turning positive. What reward do you want? Is level A intelligence clearance okay? Roll 17 minutes. I'm busy. Zhang Ziliang hung up the phone without hesitation. Shocked into a cold sweat. This kid is talking big. You know, even Zhang Ziliang, it's only a level intelligence clearance. With the hearse mission over, Chau Han entered the rest period, and the prince also found a short-term comfort. As time goes by, the prince also had a hint of expectation in his eyes. 7 days is coming. Post office will open again. Address 404, Unit 4, Building 4, Jinyuan Community. Fix the bronze on the photo of the bedroom. Reward, awakened hand, ability, and awakening. The most frustrating question in my past life, can it finally be solved? Prince. Rui Wubo's emotions fluctuated rarely. Soon the prince with strong control. Calm yourself down. Look at this strange bronze soldier. Prince carefully put it in his pocket. Skilled login to the Lingmi website. Check the information of Jinyuan Community. Has it been solved? The webpage frowned slightly. He believes in mail. The bureau won't let him do something pointless. Last time it was just a letter slightly dyed red. Prince almost fell there. This time, directly gave a nail to a once powered item. I'm afraid it's not that simple. Looks like it needs some planning this time. After all, I never awakened my powers in my previous life. It is the prince's greatest regret. Now is the time. He didn't want to capsize in the gutter. Think Wang Ye carefully checked the address of Jinyuan Community, and the community plan, the interior of the room, and so on, a series of information. Afternoon, Jinyuan Community. Under the sun. deserted community doesn't seem to be in any danger. The prince gradually became alarmed. Those so-called monsters are afraid of the sun. In the eyes of the prince, it is a little ridiculous. Monsters are really afraid of the sun. Miles of wasteland outside the city. Monsters run amok and become a joke. The prince looked at the community, and the layout in my mind. Repair. After finding no difference, he breathed a sigh of relief and walked in. In his previous life he was an ordinary person, lived through event after event. It's not his top fighting skills. About caution. How come? On the information of Yuliwang, there is no information on such a crazy woman. But after observing for a long time, the prince noticed that the woman was just standing there, smirking and breathing a sigh of relief. Take 2 steps back. Bypass the woman. Continue towards building 4. People who are too curious are compensated. As for who this woman is, what's going on, you can report it to Tianzu. Give them a headache. If you're lucky, you might avenge at some point. Soon the prince arrived at the door of Unit 4 of Building 4, an empty stairwell. Only the footsteps of the prince are constantly echoing. The door to this room is not closed. The room seems to have been unoccupied for a long time. Furniture was covered with dust. A huge cross-stitch hangs on the wall. Cross-stitch is made of red thread as if embroidered as a hand. There's even ketchup left. This person is very skilled. The whole cross-stitch looks very realistic. The prince only watched for a few seconds. What's the origin of this cross-stitch? Although it gives me a sense of trance, the prince quickly averted his gaze, but soon the prince was stunned again. Clear footprints on the dusty floor. Except me. Who else would come to a place like this? Not far from the kitchen, a strong smell of decay came. The miscellaneous celestial race has finished processing the event. Their aftermath is so crude. And here's the weird thing. The kitchen is dusty. In the pot, in the refrigerator, anywhere you can hide items. The prince has checked it all. Nothing was found. The source of the putrid smell seems to have come from this boning knife. Enough with the prince's drinking fingers. The sound is getting quieter. The cold scent of this boning knife, it seems to be getting more and more rich. You will be rewarded for completing the mission of the post office. This shows that the post office intends to cultivate messengers. Make yourself stronger, because only so, messenger can go to more dangerous places. Say so. Is it possible to be on the mission to enhance one's own strength? When the prince gradually calmed down, the seductive voice has disappeared. It's a gamble. Bet on the post office and bet on myself. But that's interesting, isn't it? Picture after picture appeared in the prince's mind. Quaint courtyard house. The owner of these hands is sitting in the yard boning. This is 404. The owner of these hands seems very nervous. The hand holding the boning knife is trembling slightly. This boning knife is so powerful. What kind of terrifying existence? It can make the owner of the boning knife feel afraid. The celestial family that should be fried. What are they doing day by day? Why are there no customs in this horrible place? The crazy woman in the women's neighborhood. She looks exactly like the woman in the photo. Suddenly, there were violent footsteps in the stairwell. It's too late. The prince held his breath. He knew that if that thing found him, there is a high probability that you will not be able to escape. But it's obviously not his style to take it easy. Gradually the footsteps went in the direction of the kitchen. Soon the footsteps accelerated sharply. Seems to have sensed something. They're walking around the house, seems to be looking for something. And this time, the prince felt his hand touching the cabinet. A little wet. It's not a red flag. It's ketchup. But that's not the point anymore. The owner of the footsteps seems to be getting more and more impatient, accompanied by the sound of flipping objects. Suddenly footsteps came to the bedroom. This thing came in. The footsteps slowly walked towards the direction of the wardrobe, finally stopped, standing at the door of the cabinet. Suddenly, there was a sudden sound from the wooden cabinet door next to it. Someone in the next cabinet. In an instant, the prince was a little afraid. If you just wanted to hide in another closet, man suddenly attacked himself. Maybe it's already cold. It's been comfortable for a long time recently. I'm still a little relaxed. The bedroom is quiet again. It seems to be going downstairs. Fortunately, the person in the cabinet next door did not withstand the pressure. Otherwise, it might be me, the master of the footsteps. It should be found that the boning knife in the kitchen has disappeared. Is that why it's broken like this? This cabinet, it seems to have the effect of isolating monsters from detection. Otherwise, if it's just an ordinary cabinet, the guy had already opened the cabinet door. In this room, it seems that every item is not simple, but with a boning knife. Suffered such a big crisis, Prince doesn't dare to touch other things at all. Now Cheongsam is the style of dressing decades ago. The Grey on Night incident was only 2 years ago. Could it be that in an earlier period? There's already something like that. The prince seems to have overestimated the sharpness of the bronze. This weird nail, it's not in the photo at all. That guy is back. It's too late to hide in the closet again. The prince's forehead, it's like being hit hard, some dizziness. The side effects of the damn bone cleaver will be reflected on the user. There was a loud bang from the door in the living room. Yes, Gale, the sound of footsteps in the living room and the disappearance of fog. As if nothing had happened, the prince breathed a sigh of relief. Holding back the dizziness in his head, he came to the living room. Is it over? Come to the community again. Looking at the sun in the sky before it sets. Sure enough, people yearn for beauty. Monsters may not be afraid of the sun, but the sun can make people feel safe. Suddenly the prince felt. Seems that someone is watching themselves. He turned around and looked around, but there was no one there. Illusion? Flash in the eye. The prince took out his phone from his pocket without a trace, not unlocked. Using the reflection of the phone screen, looking around quietly. Shudga. Isn't he already sealed by the bronze seal? Got it. 2.5 hours later. Harma, once? How could there be such a terrifying existence? Did it disappear? Hi guy should be really glad I made it out alive. Hum. Prince opened a newly bought diary, seriously on the record. This is his archive. It is also the prince's top secret. Some monsters can change memories. Write down everything on paper with a pen. It is a habit that the prince has developed over the years. Do you really have to wait until 12 o'clock? Finally awakening. Sure enough, the interval between each delivery is 7 days. Press the red gloves. The above categories. Red lines like human veins, flashing slightly red. As if it were not a glove. It's the hand that shed the leather drum. Sure enough, the texture of meat. There was a hint of decisiveness in the prince's eyes. Without hesitation, he put the gloves on his hands. The prince's blood poured into the gloves along the veins, back into the hands. Form a cycle. Prince's face instantly turned pale. Severe pain in the hand. The irritated prince's face was covered with sweat. 2.5 hours later, the pain in the hand finally gradually subsided and disappeared. I don't know when the gloves have disappeared. Wang Yiming, I feel that my hands are different from before. Close your eyes and feel a little. Prince suddenly opened his eyes. 3 abilities, under normal circumstances. Most psychic. After awakening a certain part, there is only 1 ability. A few gifted people are similar to open, able to have 2. Almost all 3 are top perverts. Finally, in the face of paranormal events I will also have my own confidence. This is no matter how top-notch fighting, can't be replaced. Go back to your room, tired. The prince fell into a deep sleep on the bed. The prince frowned slightly. My dear little operator brother is at work and said, sure enough, it's this cold tone again. But this time we will meet and cooperate. Finally got a chance to rip your head off. Prince Shishi argued for a while. Logically speaking, staff of the logistics department, there's no need to go to the front line to perform tasks. Then I remembered the mysterious minister. Does he seem to have his own ambitions? Perform or what? I need information. Go and see the news for yourself, but you only have 30 minutes. Come late, I have every reason to take you apart. Reassemble. Prince did not hesitate. He hung up, turn on the computer, plug in the USB stick and check it out. Bipolar desire? Still in the early stages after the swim fluid. Many grades are not divided. Then, against this strange domain. Clear list of grades has been drawn up. Like the slight illusion of the previous teaching building. It's only the primary monster domain that can't block the signal. In effect, vision, cell phone signal localization and illusion. It's a second order desire. As for the prince who attended the ceremony later, just ordinary people. No access to the candy amusement park. And he sighed. Prince sets off for the target address. The age of monster resurgence. All the benefits enjoyed require payment. When he obtains the corresponding rights, they will also bear the corresponding risks. And that's fair. Is it the prince? Please hop in. I will tell you the specific information in the car. The paranormal event has taken place for 40 minutes. The officer has arrived. There are 2 superpowers who reached at the same time. 3 logistics staff, 12 investigators went in to investigate. But after entering, the signal disappears. Positioning system failure. I could hear the cries outside. The road is blocked. There will be no traffic jams. We'll be there in 20 minutes. Try to survive. It's a job with a high mortality rate. Behind all efforts is the sacrifice of life. A good progressive also loves. How big is it to let us block you? Tianchi, this is my operator. May I take it that you are provoking me? This should be Chau Han. He seems to be in good spirits. Not as plump as on the phone. Tianchi's expression suddenly changed, looking at Chau Han with deep fear in his eyes. Haha, we will work together in the future. What's it looking like? And this time, Chau Han's gaze shifted to the prince. Are you the prince's brother? I will protect you. Don't even wring your head off with your own hands. With a sweet smile, listen to scary words. Prince Rao is not used to it. Now is not the time to talk nonsense. Yes, everyone is in a hurry. Let's go inside. The prince took a deep look at the strong man. This group of people, it seems that this strong man is the deepest in the city. It looks bright and stupid. But a few words, resolve the conflict silently. Come on, you 3 have more classic logistics, otherwise you won't be responsible. The other 2 support staff, with a touch of fear on his face, grit your teeth and follow Chau Han. 3 psychics walked in. Prince stood at the end and watched silently. I wrote down the layout map of Yuan Gate. Crying gradually came from the garden. It makes people feel sad in the bottom of their hearts. Seems that crying can affect your mood. I don't know if it's his talent rule. The prince thought for a few seconds. Silently following behind the crowd. Make yourself as transparent as possible. It's different from last time in the teaching building. This time it doesn't matter if it's 3 metahumans or the logistics staff are all professionals. In this case, force yourself to be cannon fodder. Obviously a stupid move at this time. The faint cries gradually became clear. Can you feel it? The crying got louder and louder, and my mood swings. You may cry at any time. Mud, I'll take care of the blue and red team to liberate. And those bastards lay there like babies. If the ability that just started, it's much easier to solve this time. Humph. Everyone's bodily functions are here. The number of times the ability is used is limited. If new body parts are not awakened, only death awaits you. Why should I lend you this kind of baby auxiliary power user? Do I miss my sister? His sister was beaten in an incident 3 months ago suddenly. The member of the logistics department, who was crying bitterly. Her face suddenly distorted. Seemed to be squeezed out of a smiling face, then fell to the ground. The strong man hurried over. Watch carefully for a few seconds. Sighs. What did he just do? It's only been 10 minutes since I came in and someone has been killed. Aren't the ordinary people who were trapped before? Does crying be included in the rules of talent? Crying can trigger emotional changes in the heart, induce people to cry, and after crying, the law of talent will be triggered. And it will reach the king. This person happens to be his sister Bao some time ago, so it's easy to cry under the guidance. Another little girl from the logistics department. He was so scared that he slumped on the ground. He's just an ordinary guy. My uncle is a high-ranking member of the Bureau of Investigation. Was assigned to the logistics department through relationships. Enjoy official welfare benefit. He's not ready to die. This moment, listening to the faint cry in my ears, tears welled up in his eyes. Don't cry if you don't want to. Better hold back the tears. Quality of the heart is so poor. How did you get into the logistics department? My little girl gradually calmed down her fear. I can't speak. Hey, is the kid okay? I don't think this monster world is that simple. They don't hold back. I can solve it easily. I really don't know what the above is thinking. Bring in some operators. I really don't know what's the use of hiding from Thunder Thief. Prince was silent. However, there are some conjectures in my heart. Current logistics department. Because in comparison, it's sort of the most comfortable place, so most of them come in through the back door. Current logistics department is miasma, but if Jan Ziliang, the minister, if you want to reform, by milder means, should also be able to change. But this time the thunder shot so decisively, apparently trying to use the threat of life, scare off those guys. Seems that the minister behind me is not simple, harsh. Not afraid of public anger. Forget it, keep going inside. Try to find the source of that strange motive as soon as possible. Also drop him. Shortly after the crowd left. The work of our logistics department, it has always been processing data in the back. Why this time? Chen, how long have you been in the logistics department? For a year? Yeah, it's been a year. This year, you should be able to see the environment of the logistics department. The air leak instrument regards this as a place to retire. I am not the ancestor of Kai Shan time, nor am I, and not just the logistics department. Even Tianzu is a little messed up. Don't shoot again.